Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the two main mistakes you're making, and you're programming variations wrong by doing these. So first, what are the two main reasons that I am prescribing variations? Because obviously, specificity is king, that's true, but sometimes you gotta do variations to fix weaknesses in lifts and technique. Obviously, there's other times as well, like someone has an injury. That's not what this video is pertaining to. So one, someone has a weakness in a lift. It's really common to just use like super weak variations. I find this a ton with people that are self-coached, especially if they just came off a meet. They're like deep in the off season. Let me give two examples. So one is going to be doing close grip work. If you're a max grip bencher, if you notice that you're like, oh, I bench 160 kilos with a max grip. So like my index is on the ring of the bar, and then you go try a close grip, maybe it's like shoulder width or so, and you're doing like 40 kilos less. It's super weak. So a lot of the times people think, oh, if I bring this up by 20 kilos, my comp lifts will go by 20 kilos. And it's be super easy to bring up because it's so weak. And that clearly is just this massive weakness in my competition lift. And I think that's where the thought process goes wrong, because it's not a weakness in your competition lift. Sure, it's like a weakness in your body. Your triceps are really weak. But if your competition bench was training your triceps that much, your close grip bench wouldn't be that weak. So another good example of this is going to be like a squat. A lot of people have front squats that are just super, super weak compared to the back squat, but like you're using really similar musculature. You're using your quads, your glutes, adductors, everything like that. But the limiting factor for a lot of low bar squatters isn't just their upper back like it is in a front squat. So since that's relatively untrained, they go to a front squat. Your legs are strong enough, your back gives out. So you could easily do a front squat and get that way stronger, but it's just your back getting stronger. And then you go do your low bar squat again. Your low bar squat is not any stronger because it just doesn't need that strong of an upper back. And that's what you were training. But let's jump back to the example of the close grip bench real quick. So I think it would be a mistake, maybe do a closer grip bench, but if you're doing a very close grip bench that's just way different, I think that would be a bad use of your pressing volume essentially. You can just do better things with that. I do think it shows that you do have like a body weakness, and obviously triceps are used in your bench. Even if on a max grip bench they're used substantially less, they're still used. So I think it's worth training, but I would just use like an accessory, like tricep push downs for that, because obviously that's not going to be taken away from your total like chest and front delt volume that you handle, but you can handle a lot of tricep on top of that. So that would be my go-to. Another thing is, unless it's for fun, because I've definitely done periods like I don't want to pull sumo for a while, let's just do conventional, let's just do RDLs because it's really fun for me. If you do that, that's fine. But if that's not the goal, I would always concurrently train your comp lift with a variation. So if you are like, oh, I'm gonna bring up my RDL, and you're also doing sumo, and you might bring up your RDL, you're not training sumo at all, and you might come back to sumo after a couple months, like, man, my RDL went so well, this is gonna be great. And then you come back with, I actually just got good at RDLs and I didn't really build a ton of muscle, or if I did, it was just in places that my sumo doesn't really need, and I just made a lot of neurological adaptations whenever I started the lift, and so I kind of perceived it as getting stronger, but it wasn't actually truly my body getting stronger. So like say you sumo twice a week, maybe swap out one of your sumo days for variation and keep training it. You might notice that like the first week or two, your sumo feels a little bit more sloppy. Maybe it goes down from like 200 kilos to 195, just because it's a little bit worse technique, a little bit less refined neurologically. But that's fine, as long as from there it starts progressing. Great. If you notice that like, man, my sumo was just stuck at this 200 kilos and my conventional is just going up and up and up, good chance that your conventional just isn't as trained, so it's a minimum effective volume, especially for the qualities that aren't as progressed as your sumo. It's just not there as much. A lot of people could say like, oh, well maybe your sumo is just fatigued and blah, and if that's the case, your conventional should also be stalled, unless you're just making those new exercise neurological gains or training areas that aren't going to translate. So if that is the case and your comp lift isn't going up, probably not the best variation for you. I'd make sure with a good variation, they're going to go up concurrently. Obviously the first few weeks, you're going to make really good progress in the variation, but after that, second, so kind of technique errors, don't use high reps for technique. So if you are doing a weakness and you're like, oh, I need to do a conventional and I need like that is going to build a lot of muscle, that's going to translate over to my sumo, awesome, go ahead, do the conventional. Makes more sense in that case to do slightly higher reps, just to maximize the muscle growth, which is the goal of the conventional in that case. But if you are doing high reps with the goal of technique for variation, I think that's a huge mistake. So we need to ask two questions, basically. When does form break down? That's obviously going to be heavier weights. If you're doing 50%, you can make any technique look great. The heavier you go, the harder it is to have the good technique, of course. And then where do we need it to carry over to? Once again, heavy weights, we do 100% in powerlifting. You go to competition, you're going 100%, you're maxing out only 1 rep. So that's the goal. So essentially, I think it's really common that people will be like, oh, my coach gave me tempo squats and I have like tempo 8s on them. Whatever you're trying to accomplish with the tempo squat, one, if you're doing 8s, you're probably not really going to be accomplishing because your athlete is going to be rushing the tempo, they're going to be rushing the pauses, that kind of stuff. So you might as well just do the competition lift at that point if they're going to be rushing it anyway. It just turns into like a sloppy version of the competition lift. And then also, form breakdown is going to happen more and more and more with high reps. You're just going to be cooked. If you're doing sets of 10 on a squat, it's going to be real difficult to control everything at the end. You're going to be ingraining really bad patterns. Much easier, even at the same RPE. I'd also say with high reps, say for example, your goal is the tempo squat and you're trying to work on like foot balance. Maybe the person goes onto their toes too much and you're trying to help them stay balanced over their midfoot. Once again, it's really easy to make anything look great at 50%. The challenge is at heavier weights, especially with the weight on your back. There's literally just more weight pushing you around. And so your balance might feel a little bit different with more weight. And also doing a variation, you're already having to take weight off the bar almost always, depending on the variation. So if you're doing high reps as well, it can easily drop you from like 100% to 90%. And then you're doing like sub-max 4x8. And so it drops you down to like 60%. It's not really going to carry over super well. At that point, if you did 70% for the sub-max 4x8 on the comp lift, I'd argue it would carry over better. So even if you need to go heavier with maybe a lower RPE at first and lower reps, I think that would generally be a lot better if the goal is technique. That's pretty much all I got to say about this. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below. If you liked it, like it, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Please drop recommendations for future videos down there too. Got a couple more videos I've got in mind that will come out this week for sure. And then last thing is just, if you're interested in coaching, I will drop my form just for the application in the bio. Feel free to fill that out and then I'll reach out to you within like 24 hours and we can set up a call to talk over the coaching, see if we'd be a good fit. And yeah, thanks for watching.